Hey Patrick,
GM, sir, how are you doing?
I'm a little bit tired, but for the rest I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm really looking forward to the vacation.
Hmm.
I'm going on with my family in about 3 weeks. Yeah, we're flying to Las Vegas, and yeah, right now in Germany, it's bleh, it's just bleh.
Really?
You don't miss anything in here.
Okay, the weather's been decent here, and I'm looking forward to Passover weekend, so it's nice, I think. So
The Passover weekend? What's the Passover weekend?
Passover, Pasen,
Passover?
like the Christian event that is always
Ah,
happening, Easter.
yeah, yeah,
So
Easter.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But for the rest, uh, yeah, looking forward for better days at least.
Yeah, they will come, my friend. They will come. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so not much going on in crypto right now. I guess. What if we start with our portfolio changes? If you made something, and
Sure.
then we just go through the topics. And yeah, did you make any changes this week to your portfolio?
Yes, yes. I think we can change the podcast to still bearish because I'm actually becoming still bearish at the moment.
No, no, no,
So,
no, no. That's not allowed, my friend.
so yeah. But since the last podcast, I've sold nearly all my SOL, and basically I've liquidated almost everything I had on my Solana blockchain, which is mainly SOL and a couple of other assets. Um, so I've done that. So I'm now in stables. My biggest stable is USDT because I find that on average the yields on USDT are a little bit better. Then I have also some USDC and also some UST.
Mhm.
UST yields are also really good, but you have the risk of UST. So yeah, I'm not sure what is the best. So yeah, I'm a little bit bearish. I just saw this morning the remainder of my soul that was stuck in friction.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so my portfolio has changed a little bit, but since my money on Solana is still a relatively small percentage
Mm.
of my portfolio, and I didn't touch my Bitcoin or Illuvium, so in the end, it's only less than 10% that really shifted.
Do you have a rough estimation how your overall portfolio looks like right now? A rough estimation is fine, I guess.
If I were to guess, I would say probably 45% BTC, 45% Illuvium, and the rest stable coins.
Wait, you usually have like 10% of ETH, right? What happened
Oh
with the
yeah,
ETH?
sorry. I totally forgot about my ETH position. No, my ETH position is still there. So yeah, deduct everything so that it equals out to fit another 10% of ETH or something.
So 40, 40, 20, 10, 10, right?
Yeah, something like
Roughly.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. And
Mhm.
what are you planning to do with your stable coins? Just
Yeah,
inside
I'm
the wallet?
no. So for sure not. I'm uh, I'm using it as an incentive to really push my yield farming because yeah,
Mm,
the yields are quite low on stablecoins if you want to do it in a relatively risk managed way. So
mm,
what I'm doing right now is I'm doing like a kind of long short yield farming, where I earn a little bit over 20%. But you have to do a lot of work for it though, so I'm not even sure
mm,
if it's worth it above something like Anchor. And also I'm trying something new for me, and that is I'm trying a position where I go long Solana and short Bonfida on Solend. So I do have a little bit of Solana left, but it's like you know mostly hedged
mm,
by Movida Short. So
mm,
I'm trying this out as well just to get some experience on these kind of constructions.
mm.
But it's not working out too well. I actually lost the money on that thing because you can't fully hedge since you can only borrow, a percentage of your loan to value. So
Mm.
yeah. And what about you? Did you change anything to your portfolio?
Yeah, I made a change. But a quick follow-up
Hmm.
question to
Hmm.
what you said. If you say you are in stables and you go long Sol and short Bonfida,
Hmm.
can you explain what you're doing right there?
Yeah, sure. So I'm in the Solent isolated pool, and that pool contains, from the top of my head, it contains FIDA, USDC, and SOL. And the the borrow rates on FIDA are very very low. When I entered, they were about 0.3% or something, and now they're like 1.5%, but they're still quite low.
Mhm.
So what I'm doing is I'm supplying my SOL, and I'm not sure what kind of
Wait, you
yields.
said that you sold your soul.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So with an asterisk, I kept a little bit for this trade to try this trade out.
Ah, okay.
But I don't gain much of the Sol positive exposure because
Mm,
I'm like short Bonfida and they're relatively correlated.
mm,
So let me see. I'm earning. Let me just check it for a second. How much you earn on the Bonfida pool with Sol? Yeah, you earn nothing almost. You earn 0.22% supply APY on the Sol,
mm,
and you borrow for 1.36%.
mm.
And then you hope that Bonfida dumps more than Sol, which is possible. So far,
Which is likely,
it's not
yes.
working out, but I still want to try it for a little bit longer.
Mm. Yeah, cool. Thanks
Hmm.
for explaining.
Yeah, sure.
This is why I was wondering, how can you be long a soul with being in stables? But yeah, makes sense.
Hmm.
Okay, I made till our last episode
Hmm.
two changes. Do you want to take a guess on what I did?
You probably sold more Bitcoin and bought more ETH,
Yeah, that's
and
exactly right.
and yeah, what else? You made two changes. So your other change, I would almost say you sold some of your like random coins and bought more ETH, but I'm not sure if that's your other change.
Yeah, this was actually a trick question because I did what you said twice,
Oh
and
yeah, that's
so
fair.
I sold I guess the biggest chunk of BTC since I bought them years ago. So usually I'm a big proponent of doing dollar cost averaging because I think if you even try to reallocate your portfolio, I think if you go in it in a big way, like let's say 20% allocation shift in one transaction, I think you are more prone to making a mistake and in comparison to splitting it up, making 10% right now and 10% a week, for example. So this week I transitioned over 5% of my BTC to ETH, which is, if you think about it, 5%, ooh, 5%, wow. But if you think about that, my BTC position was like 20%, and now I'm down to 50% or so. It's almost 25% of my overall BTC position I transitioned. So, yo, right now I'm at roughly 10% stables. I'm at 2% DFI. I'm at roughly 15% BTC and roughly 80% ETH. So, yeah, I feel comfortable with it. I'm aware of the fact that this is a really concentrated bet, but this is the bet we have the highest conviction in. I think ETH is here to stay. ETH has a bigger upside than BTC. BTC might have a bigger upside when the world goes to shit, like hyperinflation and wars and stuff like this, and Bitcoin becomes the new gold standard basically. But I don't want to bet on this dystopia. It's just a small hedge, so I'm thinking about lowering my BTC exposure even more because I think that the world doesn't go to shit. I'm an optimist, and I think in a world where the world is some kind of optimistic, I think ETH will outperform BTC by a long shot. So this is why I transition more and more from BTC into ETH. And
Okay.
I bought roughly uh, and I bought roughly 0.1% of Mina, but just as a layer one bet because I think Mina will be marketed sooner or later, and I think this Mina bet will play out quite nicely over the mid to long term.
Okay. Um, yeah, I saw that Suzu put Mina in his profile again,
Hmm.
so maybe he's trying to pump that.
Okay.
And yeah, it is definitely an interesting chain.
Hmm.
I like the concept, of basically a blockchain that fits in the size of a tweet in terms of the
Hmm.
text. It seems amazing to me.
Yeah, they use zero knowledge in technology.
Yeah,
That's the reason
yeah,
why.
it's really amazing.
And their
So,
marketing is super funny. Oh, sorry, I don't want to
mhm.
interrupt you. Sorry.
No, no, I know very little about Mina. I know that this is an intriguing concept, but for the rest, I don't know. Is there any DeFi on it yet? I don't think so, right?
Oh, there is basically nothing on there,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
that's not a problem for layer ones, right? Greetings to Charles Hoskinson. Um, Mina is super interesting because they market themselves as the lightest blockchain available. And so yeah, a friend of mine, he asked me a couple of weeks ago, "Hey Patrick, what do you think about Mina? It's the lightest blockchain available." And even that he mentioned the exact phrasing, I think it's just a nice meme. I think it's just a meme that will resonate with people. And if you tell them, okay, this is due to zero knowledge proofs, and yeah, they are all pretty small and they're all pretty similar. It may be the lightest by now, but yeah. So yeah, so just a small allocation, and I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure it will pump sooner or later.
Okay. Um, can I ask you just a short question on this?
Yeah, sure.
Like ETH and BTC are already relatively light, right? In terms so that you can run it on a basic laptop or even a mobile phone, right?
Hmm.
Um, so what do you think the use case is for an even lighter one? And if there is a use case, don't you need a lot of CPU to do the zero knowledge calculations? So it kind of
Mm.
compensates for the hard drive lightness.
Yes, I'm not an expert, but I can tell you what I know. I think you have to differentiate between the extensive mining of ZK knowledge proofs, and this is an expensive and computing intensive mechanism. But in order to validate those blocks, you can be super light. And I think you just have to differentiate there.
I see. Okay.
That's actually a small tangent that we can go off for 30 seconds. So the Ethereum proof of block, proof of block, proof of work blockchain will transition to proof of stake hopefully within the next 6 months.
Hmm.
And there is the question, what do those proof of work miners do with their engines? And the idea is that they will actually go into zero knowledge mining because this is really intensive.
Okay.
Because you don't need those engines any longer when you go to proof of stake. So yeah, this is why I
Hmm.
know it's just on a coincidence. I heard about it yesterday that the zero knowledge proofs there might be the new use case for those engines with which might lose their use case.
Okay. And but sorry, but does Mina use proof of work or proof of stake?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, because I was thinking if you need
Mm.
these computers to do the ZK calculations, then
Yeah.
the argument of being environmentally friendly may not
Mm.
go up anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know. I just played a meme for now, and
mhm. Okay.
yeah, small bet.
Yeah, interesting. Um,
Okay. Okay.
there's one more thing I actually forgot to mention that a shift that I made is on Phantom. I had some allocation on in Beethoven of some Bitcoin and ETH and USDC, and I transitioned it to something called the Granary,
Mm.
which is a really kind of meme-ish kind of Aave
Mm.
clone, but they're supposedly pretty good. So it's
Mm.
not just an Aave clone. It's like an Aave clone where they optimized it and you know they have some tweaks to make their APRs better because they build in more efficiency basically.
Mm.
Um, I don't expect anything amazing, but it's like I'm airdrop hunting basically because my yield was not that great that I was earning anyway. So I was
Mm.
thinking my opportunity cost is not super high, so I may as well airdrop hunt on the granary with this.
Mm. When will you know if your ad hunting works out, like in a week or a month or?
Yeah, I mean they say that they're taking snapshots. I think they've already taken 2 snapshots, so I don't think my airdrop will be that huge. And they will do a third snapshot. I'm not sure if they're gonna do even more snapshots after this.
Mm.
But basically, like if you check the Discord, like 1 out of 2 questions is when
Yeah, when
airdrop.
airdrop, when.
So
That's totally
uh,
common, yeah.
I don't think they're gonna wait for months. But it could be.
Yeah,
It
Mark,
could be.
I
I'm.
can tell you,
Mhm.
so I'm in roughly 200 Discords, and this when airdrop, you know that I'm really deep into airdrops, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Man, the question can get asked for years, honestly, years.
Okay.
So,
We.
but if
Okay.
they say they announce an airdrop, this will most likely come. If you go into other Discords, for example,
Hmm.
like the Hop or Connext, those bridges, it's
Yeah,
when, and they say, guys, we don't plan a token, relax. And suddenly one day you wake up, bam, 5-digit
yeah.
airdrop or so, and you say,
Yeah, okay, but they have been talking about airdrops and stuff, and they're also talking it on it on their Twitter. So
yeah,
I'm sure it will come soon, TM. But maybe it's the Blizzard
yeah,
soon,
exactly.
where you have to wait a couple of months.
Yeah, don't be disappointed if the airdrop is small because those announced airdrops they're usually quite
Hmm.
small. But those unannounced, like a DYDX, an ENS, and
Hmm.
blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
those can be juicy.
yeah. Speaking of airdrops, shall we transition into the exciting things?
Yeah, 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 sure, absolutely. Do you want to start?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I started. To be honest, I didn't have that much that was exciting. I think right now what's going on in crypto is a little bit, Ponzi here, tokenomics there. Um, there's not really that many things I'm super excited about. So I don't really have any topics other than that. I got an airdrop from Jet, which was was
Mm,
relatively nice. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. And how you got this airdrop is basically you interact with their DevNet, and you also with their mainnet, but very early on in the project lifecycle.
mm,
I think the snapshot was taken. It was taken like 6 months ago or 5 months ago, and I was using it as my main borrow lending protocol for a while. So I
mm,
wasn't just depositing $100, but I was using it, with most of the money I had on Solana. So this is why the airdrop I got was relatively high. But yeah, I just got lucky there. It could have been very low, so and they could have had even not have an
mm,
airdrop. So you never know. But I'm curious how much the price will dump between now and the airdrop unlock because it's locked for a month.
mm. Yeah, and the experience of getting your first airdrop basically it's your first somewhat biggish, right?
It's my second one that is. I had also a Lyra airdrop that was a little bit bigger.
Yeah, the
Um,
where you went the Discord and you
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Old Discord hunter. Um
yeah. I got really lucky with these airdrops. So because I'm not an
mm,
airdrop hunter, so yeah.
yeah, this was actually the question I'm about to say
hmm
ask. Now that you are somewhat successful airdrop hunter like twice, do you want to transition more and more at it, or is it still too decent for you and you want to go into yield farming like predictable income?
Yeah, personally, I prefer predictable income, even though it's maybe a
Mm,
lot lower. I do think though, like if I were to live in like some kind of third world country or something, where their wages are low, like the airdrop that I got, it would be like a couple of months' salary, in some countries.
mm,
So I mean, in those countries, it would be so worth it, like
mm,
just go to every protocol, click all the dev nets, and click all the, use
mm.
it a little bit. Of course, yeah, you may not get a big airdrop, but in those countries, I think it can make a big difference.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, but I personally just don't, it's just not my style, Patrick, to do airdrop hunting because
Mm,
I don't like to just work on things and with the chance that it may, work out in the future and that you have to hope
mm,
for it. I prefer to just see steady income, and even though it's maybe lower and less spiky.
mm. I actually think that's a good approach. I just would like to give you and our listeners the thought that you can combine both. If you, for example, can choose between um, going to a borrow lending protocol, or let's make it more concrete. Let's say we are on Solana right now, on Solana blockchain, and you can choose between your depositing your USDC or USDT into Francium and you get like 8% or whatever. I'm just giving an example. Or you can supply it to Solent and you get 9%. Just some numbers, right? I would propose that you put it into Francium because Francium does not have a token. And the 1% difference in the APR could be totally negligible in the scenario that Franklin brings out a token, because then this could be worth like 5 or 4 digits. So yeah, I think you can combine both, and I think this would be from an expected value point of view far, 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 far bigger than just going for the 1% better APR that you can get on borrowing to Solent, for example, in this example, because they have a token.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting thought. But when do you give up on a protocol not having a token? Because Francium has been out for a long time now, and they still don't have a token. So who's gonna say they won't have a token in a year? Like it could happen that they don't
Ah,
have a token.
DYDX, it took like 3 or 4 years, and then they gave some people a 7-digit airdrop. Obviously not me, but other people. And I think it could be worth it. Just you need to get into Discord and you need to read between the lines how they talk about a token. So I can't tell you when to get out of a protocol, but if you have some experience, you can read between the lines on if there is a chance of 5% or 10% or 50% or 80% or 0%. So you need to basically feel the vibe right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Anything else that you would like to add to your add-up success story?
Uh, no. I actually still need to check the Still Bullish wallet to see if that one has an airdrop. I forgot to check it.
Mm,
So yeah, maybe I will actually get a small,
nice.
rise in my Still Bullish value, but we'll see about it.
Yeah, those Solana airdrops are super small, so don't expect too much.
No, no, I'm not. And yeah, of course, since we have a cap, so I cannot. It probably cannot be much.
Mm, yeah.
What about you, Patrick?
Yeah, I have two things I would like to talk about in regards to remarkable things. So the first one is I would like to give a shout out to our listeners. If you, our dear listener, if you are interested in building a crypto protocol and you have some kind of coding skills and some kind of interest in becoming a coder, please feel free to reach out. We are building out our protocol right now. We are on the lookout for developers. You don't need to be a super expert coder. You don't need to be an experienced Rust or Solidity coder. Just reach out if you want to be part of building a crypto protocol, and we are open to have conversations. Absolutely. And so just a quick shout out. This is something I would like to bring up. And the more remarkable thing is that yeah I would like to point out one thing I enjoy pretty much when I do listen to some podcast. I do listen to less podcasts than I did a couple of months ago. And have you ever heard about the Layer Zero podcast from Bankless?
Um, yeah, I mean, I've heard about it. I haven't listened to it. It's the one where Dave Hoffman or something. He
Hmm.
interviews people in the Ethan ecosystem, right? About their personal
Hmm.
life and stuff.
Yeah. So David, I think he will be happy to be called Dave, Dave
Oh,
Hoffman.
sorry.
No, no, totally fine. I'm just kidding. So yeah, you're right. It's the part of Bankless which is run by David Hoffman. And big kudos to you, David. I think he's making an amazing job. He's focusing on the people, and the vibe that I get from this podcast is so smooth, Mark. It's so smooth. It's when they open up the podcast. It's, for example, they had a podcast with the father of Vitalik Buterin, for example. He is called Dmitry Buterin, and he talked about his own life. He talked about the life of Vitalik. He talked about yeah, basically communism and stuff like this, and it was so smooth. And when the podcast opened, David usually asked the question, for example, "Hey Dimitri, what's up?" So even the voice of tone, it's so cool. And then it's this super smooth conversation where they talk about the lives of the people, why they're interested in Ethereum mostly, and how they got into crypto. And it's really interesting. You get a really good picture from the experience what other people are having, and it's different from other podcasts out there. Usually, when you listen to podcasts, it's okay. Where is the alpha? Give me the alpha. Where is the edge? What will happen next? Are we bullish? Are we bearish? What is Do Kwon thinking? How can I front run everyone? And this is totally different. It's more like, yeah, you get an ease of mind. He talks to people who are in there for the long term. For example, Hasib Qureshi from Dragonfly Capital. He's a VC and he talks about how to become a Web3 VC. Or he had an episode with Anthony Sassano, the guy from the Daily Gwei, which I really like, and he talked about his experience with Ethereum. So big shout out to Bankless, to Layer Zero podcast, and to all of you listeners out there who are somewhat new to crypto. I highly encourage you to listen to one or two episodes of the Layer Zero podcast to get a better understanding on people who are in crypto for the long term, who are here for years by now, how they made it, and yeah, there are some common threads I think I noticed from listening to a couple of ones. So yeah, big shout out. I enjoyed a lot, and yeah, quick shout out basically. Have you ever listened to some podcast, Mark? From Layer Zero?
Um, no, I haven't listened to the Layer Zero ones. I mean, I've seen them, but I kind of don't like David Hoffman or too much for some reason.
Yeah, we have to beep
So
that out.
so yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe, yeah, it may be like irrational bias or something, but
Hmm.
there's something about him that I don't like, so I don't listen to his. I listen to I listen to his thingy with Anthony Sassano when he
Hmm.
does it occasionally, like the live streams, and also the weekly roll up I listen to.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't want more of his stuff in my life
Hmm.
personally. And yeah, but yeah, yeah, I mean, I respect him as a podcaster though. It's not like it's
Hmm.
not. I have nothing against his skills. So. And
Yeah.
yeah, some of the interviews do seem interesting. As I saw the one with Dimitri on my feed, and also some of the
Hmm.
other ones. I just have never listened to it.
Yeah. I could totally understand. You can't get along with every single person out there, and no hard feelings, I guess. I think David would be fine with this as well. It's just he has somewhat how do you call it, polarizing attitude sometimes, and some people get along
Hmm.
with it and some people not. It's like basically a lot of people on this earth as well. Some people say Elon Musk is a jerk, and some people say he's a visionary. Yeah, it's totally fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Do you have anything other remarkable, or do you want to transition to exciting things?
No, I have nothing remarkable, Patrick.
Okay, okay. Yeah, then maybe I can put you into position because
Sure.
I have a question for you. So I think after our last podcast, I asked you, so in our last podcast, I asked you the question, when will be there some kind of Illuvium gameplay? Do you recall?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you described it to me like it's an auto combater, if that's the right word, right?
Auto Battler, I think
Auto
it's
battler,
called.
sorry, yeah,
Yeah,
auto
yeah.
battler. Yeah, and then I think a day or two later, you forwarded a video to me where Kieran, so one of the founders, and another founder, they had a battle. And I was taking a look at it, and at first I thought, okay, it's like a tower defense game. You have to survive rounds, and yeah, it's okay-ish. It's nothing that gets me super excited. But then after a couple of days, it I reflected on it again, and I thought, man, this looks nice. And if you want to have a game where your brain gets a little bit more challenged, not like running around and just shooting people like a first-person shooter, I think this could be really awesome. So my question is basically, can you articulate your bull case for Illuvium? And I kept this question broad on purpose, so I don't say please tell the bull case for the ILV token. Please give us the bull case for Illuvium in total.
Yeah, so for me, basically, Bouquet of Illuvium is that it's a Pokemon type of game, but then for adults, basically.
Mm,
Since right now the Pokemon is a little bit cartoony and it's not that cool that cool anymore, basically after so many
mm,
years and after they've rehashed the concept. So imagine you're out in an open world, but it's like a nice 3D world and not a cartoony world like you have in Pokemon, where they don't have really good graphics.
You mean
And
you as a player being out in the open world, right?
yeah,
Imagine
yeah,
that you have. Okay, okay, yeah.
yeah. You as a player, you're out in the open world, like
Mm,
I don't know, like a Zelda game, but then
mm,
with really nice graphics. And then you catch these things in the wild. And in Pokemon, you enter turn-based RPG, right? Where you have like four
mm,
moves, and you can pick one of the four moves, or you can pick like a potion or something, or a Pokeball. This kind of gameplay, even though I like it personally, because you only have four moves, and there's not that much depth to the gameplay. Usually, there's only one move that is the best, and you can maybe switch out your Pokemon, and that's about it, right? So
mm,
after a while, like usually when you have this battle, what you do is you just spam the same button over and over and over again. Like the most efficient
mm,
button. So the combat part of Pokemon is actually not super exciting and not super deep. And here with Illuvium, they solved this by making the combat part an auto battler, which is the style from Teamfight Tactics, which is a game made by the same persons who made League of Legends. And also there's another game that Valve made.
mm,
I'm blanking on the name right now, but it's a Dota-based, like Dota chess kind of game.
mm.
So the combat is also very deep. Um,
Is it called Hearthstone? No.
no, 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 no. But it does have some Hearthstone elements since the way you play the game is. I'm not sure if you've ever played trading card games, Patrick. Have you ever played those? Have you, have you
Back
ever,
in the days, I played Pokemon, but
have you ever bought like
yeah,
a booster pack and or a booster box?
yeah, like 20 years ago, I played Pokemon, but not Magic
Hmm.
the Gathering. But you are, or you were quite heavy invested in it, right?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, so it's a game, but it's on the blockchain, right? So what would prevent you from just farming the hell out of it by just playing it and catching everything and then selling it, basically? Because you have
Mm,
an auction house kind of where you can sell things for ETH. Um, so what you do is basically, if you want to enter a zone, you have to buy like it's like a zone, it's like a booster pack. So you buy rights to
mm,
enter a zone, and in that zone there's a certain amount of creatures that you can capture, herbs that you can farm, and it's
okay,
it's all balanced. So if you farm a lot of creatures, then you can farm less herbs. If you farm a lot of herbs, then there's less creatures because you have it's like a certain amount of points. And
Mm.
basically, you catch these creatures or or like or your herb things, and you can use that in battle, just like with Hearthstone. You build your own deck kind of. So not only is
Understand.
the gameplay interesting in that it's like kind of like a chess kind of gameplay where you have to position things and you have to think about what will happen. You also have to build your own deck that suits your own strategy. So yeah, so I think these two things combined make it, really a compelling
Mm.
game. Although it's a little bit hard to get into, I think, because yeah, it looks. Yeah,
Mm.
auto battlers are still not that huge. Like Teamfight Tactics was
Mm.
kind of huge, but not. It's not the top of Twitch anymore for a long time.
Mm.
So I wonder how popular it will be. So this is one of the
Mm.
concepts that makes it really exciting to me. And then if you add in basically the quality of the team, so they have a really really good team with people from the best studios in the world, like people who made Lord of the Rings, people who made Spider-Man, people from high-end advertising, people from gaming
Mm.
studios. So they have just a really really insane team. Um, so yeah, they can also build really really quickly, and because they are incentivized by their own token, they work really hard. So normal designers, they only work a couple of hours, and the rest they just check Facebook because they don't get paid more, if what they produce is really that good. But because
Mm.
people here are paid partially in a token, in addition to a normal good salary, they are super pumped, and they work weekends, they work so many hours. So this is why they've been able to
Mm.
make a game in such a short time. So yeah, these are some of the bull cases. Yeah, there's some more, but yeah, let's not. I can talk for a
Mm.
long time. Um, yeah, maybe two more things that I think are interesting is that first of all, yeah, Illuvium is a big war chest in terms of the ILV token, so they can afford to host the biggest esports tournaments in the world. So that is
Mm.
bound to draw some attention from traditional gaming. Um, and also, yeah, they're very ambitious with their advertisements and stuff. So
Mm. Yeah, I
they
noticed
hire
that. Yeah.
people from Twitch, and they
Yeah.
hired the head of Twitch marketing, I think, and also some other people.
Mm.
So yeah, they plan to take things big, but yeah, let's just wait and
Mm.
see about this. But yeah, I have pretty good confidence about it. And you saw the video of the brothers. They are
Mm.
they are super competitive themselves. So
Mm.
I wouldn't bet against the Warwick since they have just it's just in their nature, in their DNA as a
Yeah.
family. So
Yeah. So sorry, go ahead,
no,
please.
no, okay, no, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. 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 So I think you brought up some good points, and I think this could work, and especially the marketing point that you mentioned, that they're pretty good at marketing. I noticed that when I was taking a look at the video that you forwarded to me, and maybe we can put in show notes, it felt like they actually understand on how to market a game. It felt like that some Twitch people could adopt it, and they could somehow find a way to incentivize those people so they play those games. I'm I was a long time Twitch viewer, mostly to people who were pros at playing World of Warcraft. I don't know why, but I somehow my brain enjoys watching awesome people being awesome at an awesome game. Maybe it's just weird, but I think this could work for Illuvium. So some awesome Illuvium players, they play Illuvium on Twitch, and they talk about their strategies. Do you think this could work out as well, or don't you think that there is a Twitch use case where Twitch can hype it up, and so the adoption comes from Twitch in
Yeah,
itself?
I think it can work, Patrick, and there's a couple of reasons for it. One of the reasons is that there's also a kind of betting system built into Illuvium. So you can bet against other players for custom matches in ETH. And like, so I can see big streamers go, battle each other and do huge bets for like, 100 ETH or something or whatever,
Wow.
to get a lot
Mm.
of viewers and to get a lot of hype. So I can see these big bets going on between streamers because you also have some kind of streamers that are kind of like hostile against each other, or like they're kind of like frenemies in some ways. So
Mm.
I can see this kind of thing generating hype. And they also have a feature where you can record your matches, and yeah, it doesn't record it as like you record a video, but you record like the positionings and stuff, and the game engine calculates where you are, and then you
Mm.
can render it to like a super super high quality video basically. So and even light PCs can do that because you're not recording live. It's like you're recording the positions and the game calculates how everything should look like, and then it renders it for you. And then you can replay these games, and you can spin the camera around and all these kind of things, right? So
Mm,
I think you will see a lot of people making replay content where they commentate on replays of esports matches and these kind of things.
mm,
So I think these are two interesting things. Mm. And I think because Teamfight Tactics was quite hyped for a while, it was really at the top of Twitch. Um, I think some pros they're already moving over to Illuvium because of the
mm,
money, right? So I think some of the if a lot of people from Teamfight Tactics move over, the viewers will also move over. So this is also
mm.
another catalyst that could bring some viewers for this game.
Yeah, cool. Fingers crossed that this works out. I
Yeah,
think it
let's see.
would be great to see the initial hype and if the initial hype can stick around.
Yeah, yeah. So my main concern is basically the graphics. It requires a pretty high-end PC. So
Mm,
until it gets lowered down for that more, that common people can, play it on their PCs, I'm not super hyped on the usage. And it's
mm,
gonna take a while before the mobile version comes out. I think it's gonna take a
mm,
year at least. So yeah, my thesis is on until that comes out, Patrick. Otherwise, I can't
mm.
validate it. And if it's still not
Yeah,
popular after the mobile game comes out, then then it's definitely invalidated, and I will
mm.
exit it.
Yeah, that's really good that you say it actually. That's a really big strength of good investors that they change their opinion if the facts changed. And yeah, so yeah, let me know if you do something, if you see something. I personally am interested in investing into Illuvium. I I'm just at the point right now, and yeah, if you see interesting things, yeah, please bring it up. I think some of our listeners are interested in this as well.
Yeah, so you'll be able to play it relatively soon, I think, because you
Mm,
have the beta from the Auto Battler that's coming out, and they will have a land sale where you have like a mini mobile game that you can play,
mm,
and you don't even have to buy land to play that game. So they have a free version for that, where you can still play the game, but you don't make any money basically if you don't buy land, but you can
mm.
still play it. So you will be able to play Illuvium in two ways relatively soon.
Yeah, I will check it out, hopefully. If
Cool.
it's not like Ethereum and they say, okay, sorry, delayed.
Yeah, let's see about it. I hope it will be delayed less than Ethereum
Mm,
merge has been, but let's see
yeah,
about this.
yeah, the Ethereum merge, it got delayed again, and yeah, I somehow like that it got delayed. I could argue for and against it, but if I have to choose between 99.999% chance that this will run smooth or a 99.7% chance, man, totally 99.999. It's they can't fuck it up, man. They can't fuck it up. And so yeah, I think it's totally fine. The market is in a waiting position right now, and yeah, so totally fine, I guess. I think we're here for the long term. You're here for the long term for Illuvium, most likely, and BTC. And I'm here to see Ethereum succeed over the next 5 years or so. And we have our big high conviction bets, I guess, for the long
Yep.
term. Okie dokie. I mean, do you want to transition to our portfolio challenge?
Yeah, sure.
Okie dokie. Yeah, do you want to tell our listeners what you borrowed to pay an LPR and let it sit inside your wallet again? Or did you do something else this time?
Well, I did something else because I said I'm still bearish, right? So
Mm,
I sold my remaining soul,
mm,
and I'm now farming stables in there. Um, yeah, I tried different farms like long short Orca, long short Soul, probably even. Yeah, the APRs are not as great, but yeah, basically my dollar amount last week was 817, and now it's 791. That's because
mm,
I sold a little bit later into the week, right? When the Solana had
mm,
already dropped a lot. Yeah, so I dropped 3.2% roughly, and I outperformed Sol by yeah by quite a lot, by 10%, because
mm,
my Sol value went up from 7.18 to 7.95. So I think this is probably my biggest gain in Sol value, and just because
mm,
Sol dropped a lot. Yeah, so I'm still not happy with it because I still lost money in dollars. So yeah, it's still
mm,
not good in my view. But I'm happy I made the decision. And
mm,
I just want to clarify for the listeners, it's not like I'm long-term bearish of Solana. I still really like the chain. So um, it's more for maybe, you know, 3 months, 6 months, something like this.
Mm, mm. Yeah, fair point. I think this was one of your biggest weeks. I'm reflecting on it right now, and from our podcast 15 to 16, this was an even bigger increase because Solana dropped by roughly $30. And in this week, you made 1.3 Sol back then, and now you made 0.77. So yeah,
Ah, okay,
I think
okay.
the more Solana dumps, the better you perform because you're so much into stables, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Hmm. Okie dokie. Yeah, cool. I basically lost $54. So I got from roughly 530 to roughly 480. And I'm still in my risk on assets, so I have like $10 of USDC. But the rest is risk on because I'm doing the airdrop hunting mostly. So I have my BTC, my ETH, my Sol, and my MSol.
Hmm.
I'm still in Friction, Katana, and Chest Finance to do a little bit of airdrop hunting. And I think it's still the bet which fits my style the most because in comparison to you, you are basically faced with the decision every single week. When do I want to get more risk on? Because sitting in stables, yeah, it's not a long-term strategy, I guess. Except
Hmm.
if you think that prices will go down and down and down and down and down. But you just said that you are bullish over the next 3 to 6 months. I mean, above, beyond 3 to 6 months. So basically, you have to ask yourself the question, when will I get more risk on? And yeah, I'm still sitting in chest finance, Katana and Friction, selling some covered calls. So I'm selling the upside basically. And yeah, I lost money in US dollar terms, but I made some Sol. So our challenge started with 5 Sol, and now I'm at 4.8 Sol roughly. So yeah, roughly where we started at. But I lost about yeah 50% of my US dollar portfolio because since we started our portfolio, Sol dropped by a little bit more than 50%. So yeah, normal volatility, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead,
Patrick.
please.
I have a question. Like you've been in chess, in Katana, and in Friction for a while, right?
Yes.
What has performed the best? Do you know by from top of your head what has performed the best
No,
for you?
I have no idea. I really have no idea.
Okay.
And I think they might perform quite similar because most of them they take those strike prices from I'm not quite sure, but one of them is the brain in there, and I think friction is the brain, and the other one copy paste them basically. So I think they are pretty similar. And I'm not that big of an options guy, but I heard, and please correct me if I'm wrong because I know you have some little bit more knowledge. I heard that they are using a strategy which basically doesn't get called 9 out of 10 times, but 1 out of 10 times it gets called. So let's say, for example, you sell a covered call. 9 out of 10 times, the strike price is above the market price, so you don't get called. But 1 out of 10 times it just get called. Yeah, so I think one of them is the brain, and they pretty much copy paste each other. Maybe some small tweaks so it doesn't look like copy paste, but I can't tell you who's the best. And in regards to what I said about the 9 out of 10 times getting called, does this make some sense, or was it total total BS?
No, I know what you mean, basically. Basically, you mean they adjust the strike so that the chance is high that the option expires out of the money.
Mm, yes.
Okay. Yeah, the reason I bring this up because I was in Friction for the first time 2 weeks ago, and I just exited this morning. And I have two lessons. The first lesson is that, and this is purely my own fault, my own stupidity for not
Mm,
reading well enough into it. But when you deposit into Friction, you can only exit after the next, basically the options expiry.
mm,
So, the options expiry for Friction are on a Friday, and on Saturday morning, I checked my returns and I wanted to get out basically. So I
mm,
tried to get out for a while, and it turns out I was basically not making much progress with getting out. I was like, what's going on with this? And it
Mm,
turns out basically you have to make a transaction to say to Friction, so take my money out, and next
mm,
week I
yeah,
can really take it out.
yeah.
So if you're in Friction for a short term, like I was for 1 week, and it takes 2 weeks to get out, you have to actually think, you have to actually divide your returns, right? Because for the 1 week that you're trying to withdraw, you're not getting any yield either. So
Mm,
I entered a Sol covered call vault 2 weeks ago, and I exited with a 6.9% APR, like an annualized.
mm,
So which was way below the 30% advertised.
mm.
I think just a warning for other people who may try to use fiction. Read the documentation and don't be an idiot like me,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. Good point that you bring it up. You have to how do you call it? How do they call it? They call it
Claim, you have to claim
and
it or something. You
and
have to claim your withdrawal or something. No, I'm not sure, but you have to basically announce in advance, hey guys, I want to exit,
yeah,
so put
exactly.
me in the queue for next week so I can exit next week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, cool. Yeah, thanks that you bring it up. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. That's maybe a somewhat newer concept because I did it like multiple times. So for me, it was like, okay, that's part of the game. But yeah, good that you brought it up.
Cool.
Okay, okay. Yeah, anything else, or do you want to wrap it up?
I'm not sure if I talked about it last week, but I also entered Lifinity with a part of my portfolio. Did I
Hmm.
mention that yet on the
I'm
podcast?
not quite sure.
I don't think so, eh? So yeah, Lifinity, which is basically, yeah, it's like a DEX with concentrated liquidity, but in a special type of way. I really like them so far. So I entered into the ETH USDC pool, and last time I checked, you get it around 20% APR. Um, and this, yeah, basically they have some algorithm which kind of beats impermanent loss a little bit or counteracts it. So yeah, I really like this position,
Hmm.
Patrick, and yeah, I'm kind of a fan of Friction because I mean not Friction,
Friction
Lifinity.
liquidity, right?
Yes, because you get pretty good APRs that they manage to obtain for you, and it's just passive, so you don't have to think about it.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, I really like it, so I may enter it a little bit more actually once I'm
Mm. Yeah,
not as
Affinity,
nervous
I
about the
think
market.
it's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really
cool
great.
to brought up.
Do you have anything in Affinity as well?
Yeah, I have like, I don't know, some dinners in there.
Okay, okay,
Um, in the Soul USDT, but it's super small.
okay. Now I have a little bit more significant. So yeah, yeah, interesting. But I am still losing money though because of the ETH price decrease. But yeah, I think longer term, if we keep getting this crap market, the APR will
Mm.
outperform just holding it separately.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah, guys, check Affinity out. I think they're onto something. Product-wise, I think from product innovation point of view, super legit. And they have their own pools. We talked about them a couple of weeks ago. I won't rehash it now. Listen to our episode. I think one or two episodes before. I gave an explanation, but yeah, alpha there, my friends. I think a super good project.
Mhm.
Okie dokie. Anything else, or do you want to wrap it up?
No,
Okie dokie. Then, yeah, guys, stay interested. Folks, Mark told me I don't should say, guys and girls. So, dear
boys and
listeners,
girls, boys and girls.
yeah, boys and girls, dear folks out there, stay interested in crypto. Now it's a really good time to educate yourself. And if you are interested in coding, or if you are an experienced developer, please reach out. You can find us on Discord or Twitter or whatever, and we are really open to talk with you. Yeah, with this being said, take care and yeah, bye bye.
Bye bye.